Now I'm going to show you a website where your students can learn to type on the computer for free. I use this website in my class during the first 5 to 10 minutes each day, and by the end of the year, my students can type very quickly without looking at their hands for essays, paragraphs, sentences, numbers, whatever they need to type on the computer. This website shows the correct positions, how to sit, where each finger goes, and everything your students need to become expert typists. So the website is at www.typingstudy.com. So go ahead and type in that URL, and then I'll show you how to create an account and sign in and get started. Once you've typed in the URL, scroll all the way to the bottom and click Register. Once you click there, it takes you to the user registration page. The first thing they'll ask you to do is to create a username. Now you can see that I've entered my name, Debbie, but there's a message in red that says this username already exists. Please choose a different one. So at that point, what I'm going to do is add my last initial, which is D. And once I add the D, the username error disappears and they allow me to use the username Debbie D. Now, if you've added your first name, your last initial, and you still have the error that the username exists, I would recommend adding the last 4 numbers of your telephone number to the username, like this. But since they gave me the shorter username of just Debbie D, I'll go ahead and remove those numbers. Next, they want us to create a password. I recommend that my students use the password that they use in our school when they log into the school computer. For other people who don't have a school password, I would just recommend using a password that is easy for you to remember, or one that you use for another site that you go on frequently. Then they will have you retype the password, so go ahead and retype it, and then they ask you to type your real name. Because this website is public and many people use it, I would recommend typing your first name and your last initial rather than your full name. That will keep your information private. Next, they ask for an email, so you can enter a Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, or any other email address that you use. In the next box, where it says Enter Security Code, you copy the letters and/or numbers in the gray box into the white box above it. So go ahead and type out that security code. And be sure to check the little box that says I agree to the terms of use. Then click Register at the bottom, and you're all done signing up. Now I'm going to show you the basics of getting started on the next page. So let's now scroll to the very bottom of the page, and you can see what it looks like when you're all signed in. You always want to be signed in when you're using this site because it tracks your progress by drawing lines through the lessons that you've already completed. And I see the message at the bottom of the page to the left that says Welcome Debbie D. That means that I'm signed in, so the site will track my progress as I type. Next, we need to choose the keyboard layout for the type of keyboard and language that we're typing. So I'm using a keyboard that is set up for US English, so I'm going to click US English in the upper left-hand corner of my screen. Notice that there are many different languages here. You can click onto Russian, Spanish, and many other languages. But for the languages to work and for you to practice typing in those languages, you have to have your keyboard layout set up for that language. So I'll go ahead and click on to US English, and then it takes me to a screen that says Touch Typing Basics. Now notice that there are ads at the top, bottom, and side of the screen. I teach my students to avoid clicking the ads as they type so that they're not interrupted, and to only focus on the buttons that say Next Hint. You can also click the button that says Click here to skip hints and start typing, but actually the students need the hints to learn how to type correctly. So I've clicked Next Hint, and now the program is going to give us instructions on where to put your fingers, which key your forefingers go on, middle finger, fourth finger, pinky, thumb, and then it will show us an exercise to begin typing. A very important part of this program is that when it shows you letters to type, It underlines them, and it also shows you the corresponding finger that you need to use and the key that you need to press with that finger to type that letter. If you make a mistake, it will not type a letter. As you complete each line, it gives you another line to type. And finally, I'll show you what happens at the end of the lesson and how students continue to the next one. So I paused the video while I did lots of typing and skipped ahead to the end of the lesson. And you see the program gives you lots of different types of scores, and it says lesson part complete. Click here to go to the next lesson part. So students will click there, and then it will mark through the part that we've just done, and it will take you to the next one. So as I click this, you can see in the upper left-hand corner, it has marked through this lesson because I finished it. So those are the basics of this program. You now know enough to go ahead, sign up, log in, and get started.